Hello! Welcome to episode 2 of Tea Time Med Chats. So in this episode we will be looking at the internship application process, which a lot of you will be thinking about.
So now we'll move on to references.
Yes.
So they seem quite like easier than the other sections, would you say so?
Yes and no. I think 80% yes, 20% no. In the sense that you don't really need to do that much work. It's mainly the references who do work in terms of actually filling it in. But it's tricky because you need to find the perfect reference. And I've just heard like so many horror stories about people who have like asked the reference, they've said yes, and then the deadline is coming and they're just literally emailing, calling, like faxing, carrier pigeoning, like literally everything, and they just do not reply, and they're just like messaging the group chat, just like freaking out, like crying, and it's just like, oh my god, I'm like so sorry. So that's the difficult part. My tip for references is, like, I think regardless of whether you go to Monash, Deakin, Melbourne, anywhere, there are like these feedback forms that you do. I think it's called like mini CEX or like work-based assessment or something, or like an end of term feedback form, I think it's called. So you can ask your reference to fill one of those in and see how they fill that form in. Like for example, I had a consultant who filled out my form, who gave me like 2s for everything, and then they were like, well, Richard, even if I was marking myself, I would give myself a 3. And I haven't met a single doctor who I'd give a 4 because we're always learning. And we've never mastered medicine, and medicine is an art. And it's like, well, okay, I'm obviously not going to ask you to be my reference. Yeah. So if you do that, you kind of get a gauge of like what they're going to be like as a reference. And I would prioritize people who will write a lot in each section and know you very well over someone who has clout. So even if they're the head of a department, but if they're only going to write really generic basic things like, oh yeah, good student, like on time, whatever, then that's not really going to be as good as like a first year consultant who knows you inside out and is going to give you a glowing review. Right. So know who's like your friend, know who's going to be on your side and help you a lot, rather than, you know, just try and find like a famous name. So
you're able to choose who to ask, and then can you also choose which ones to submit?
Okay, how it actually works is you get 2 references, okay? You get all of their details, like their hospital, their title, their mobile number, their email, and then after you've submitted, you can't change it.
So do you know the result before you submit?
No, you do not.
So after you submit the details, you only know the result after it's over?
After it's over. It's really scary.
That's so scary.
Which is why you always send them like a really, really nice email, like, dear so-and-so, I hope you had an amazing holiday. How is Bill? How's Ben? And then really like ham it up and emphasize, like, look, this will help me get into the hospital that I like. Can you please like write as much as possible? Really? Like that's what hospitals are looking for. Make sure you include details in this, and yeah, because you don't see what they've written until the very end, and you can't change after you've submitted who your 2 are going to be.
Wow, that's really scary.
It is, and some people open up their their reference, and sometimes it's not good, and it's like, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so these are clinical references, so doctors?
Yes, and they have to be PGY4 or above, which means they can be registrars or consultants. We've been told by every healthcare provider that it doesn't matter whether they're a registrar or a consultant. I personally chose 2 consultants only for my own peace of mind, but the official word is it doesn't matter. So it's really your own personal preference whether you want to, I don't know if you want to call it like play it safe and get a consultant, because they've already said it doesn't matter, so up to you.
I feel like they would like score consultants' references higher though.
It's all speculation. You can't really get inside the head of the recruiter. I don't know.
I also heard that like even it's better to get like hospital doctors rather than GPs as references. Because like they're like you're hiring interns and they like consult like doctors in a hospital would like know you working in a hospital versus GP, which is different.
I can neither confirm nor deny that, and I think it would depend on the individual hospital as well. There's no such thing as like a one size fits all. Like maybe some hospitals would be looking for that, but as someone who went through the rural cohort and spent a lot of time with GPs, and like GPs knew me like so well by the end of the MD3, like I think they would have made really strong references. And look, the thing is, you can just ask like 10 people and then choose the 2 best ones. Like you just need to like flag it with them early on. Like, look, can I ask you to be my reference? And then just get them to say yes, and then just keep them in your back pocket.
So that's actually like the scariest part then. It's not as easy as I thought it would be.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit of a roll of the dice and a little bit just doing a lot of background work on your end.
Okay. We'll move on to interview.
So there is the PMCV centralized interview, and what that is 3 video scenario-based interviews. So what that means is you just do it on your own laptop and you just press a button when you're ready. So they give you like I think it's more than 1 day, it's like a weekend maybe to do it. And yeah, it's definitely a weekend. And you just press the button whenever you feel ready, and it just gives you the questions and you just do it. And when I mean scenario based, what that means is it won't be like tell us about a time when you worked in a team, tell us about a time you had to resolve a conflict. It'll be like, okay, you're an intern, and then you see a surgeon who's about to perform like cataract surgery, but they've had like 2 beers or something. What do you do? So it's to see that if you are an intern, how would you go about dealing with things? So that's the PMCV standardized interview, and I believe they are all 2 minutes each, but do your research and don't quote me on that. And my advice for these interviews is to always identify the core concerns. So what are they like truly asking you? Like, what should be your number 1 priority here? Is it patient safety? Is it professionalism? Like, what is it? And then make a really good topic sentence out of it, and then say that really strong topic sentence, and then at the end finish strongly as well. And if you make a mistake, don't get flustered, just collect yourself and then just restart again, and make sure that you don't, I guess, like get a hangover in between the questions. So if you stuffed up question 1, just do question 2 as if it's new, and so on and so on. So other than the PMCV standardized interviews, which get sent to all the hospitals, there are also the hospital-specific interviews. And not every hospital will ask you, only some of them. And these ones are a lot trickier, a lot trickier.
Really?
Because you have no idea how long you'll have to answer them. So for example, I don't know if I should say the hospital, but basically one hospital, I think we only had 45 seconds to answer the first question, and then like 5 minutes to answer the last question. So you really just have to be on fire, because if you spend like 10 seconds thinking about it, and then like 5 seconds saying like you're
That's gonna be me.
no, you'll be fine, you'll be fine, you'll be fine. Then you're quite screwed. Don't. And the other thing is, they don't follow like a guideline. So it might be scenario based, but it might not be. So they might ask you why you want to study medicine. They might ask you why you want to come here. They might ask you what qualities make up for a good intern, or things like that. Which is why you can't purely prepare scenario-based responses. You have to have an answer for pretty much everything. Because it's like 45 seconds, you can't afford to think about it. And that comes to my next important tip, is that I don't think it's possible to over-prepare. I think some people worry like, oh, if I prepare too much, will I sound like a robot? Will I come across as fake? Like it's obviously rehearsed. And I think if you prepare too much, then that's what allows you to be spontaneous. And that's what allows you to kind of play with the timing, play with the prosody.
Ow! Why are you like this? Just say like rhythm or something.
Yeah, like play with the rhythm and make it natural and organic and more conversational. Whereas if you don't prepare, that's when it actually sounds mechanical and rehearsed, like you're trying to remember the next thing in the script. And you just need to prepare so much.
Man.
Yeah, you just need to prepare a lot so that it comes across as like really confident and really sincere.
Okay.
So the other thing with preparation is I would practice with as many people as possible. Practice with people that make you nervous, not just people you're comfortable with. So like, I don't know, like I practiced with my sister once. That's pretty weird because she's never seen me do anything in my whole life. So obviously that would like make me a little bit nervous, or like practice with like, I don't know, your mum or your dad or something, not just medical students who are going to be focusing on some things but not the overall picture. And the other thing is prepare in the location that you're going to do the interview in. Get used to the surroundings, find the perfect lighting, find the perfect background, don't have anything distracting, and just really be meticulous. Like unplug the doorbell, like get your shirt right, know exactly what outfit you're going to wear, exactly where the sun's going to shine, because all of these things, even though it's not directly on the marking sheet, can be distracting, and you just want to make it easy for the examiner, so they can focus on your answer and just so you look memorable and look, you know, attractive. What is this?
The more we talk about this internship application process, the more it scares me. I can't believe I need to like start doing this soon.
Don't start that early. Just think about it. Just look at things and just think about it.
Okay. The final section of our video is going to be about how you preferenced your hospitals.
Okay, so preferencing basically means you rank the hospitals that you want to go to from 1 to 8, and the hospital also ranks you. And through some funky algorithm, there's some funky algorithm. They put like they just find the optimal like match between the two preferences, and they put you there. PMCV does a very good job of explaining this, much better than I just.
Funky.
Much better than I just did. So what that means is you can preference a minimum of 1 hospital if you're extremely confident, or a maximum of 8. And I would recommend everyone does 8, to be honest. Like I do have friends who preference fewer than 8, but the thing is, even if you don't want to try for 6, 7 and 8, and you only want to try for 5, just copy and paste any old CV and cover letter into the 6, 7 and 8. Just, you know, I think it's always good to have a safety net. That's just my opinion. You can disagree, which is totally fine. And basically hospitals can, well, it's a myth that the hospitals can see what preference you put, but they can filter by like top 3, top 5 or top 7. Oh, and the other thing is everyone, like invariably 1 or 2 or a few students will ask at the info night, how do you filter?
Really?
Which means they're very explicit by what number you need to put them.
So what was your factor, or what were your factors in choosing which hospitals were like ranked 1 or 2 or 3?
Yeah, so it was really difficult. And honestly, I was switching them up a lot, even in the lead up to like the final deadline, just because it was so hard to split hairs. But there were a few really important factors for me. So one was I wanted to find a hospital that was really renowned for psychiatry, because I really love psychiatry and I'm quite committed and keen on it.
That's why you say things like prosody.
Yeah, maybe. Prosody. Yeah. So that's why I preferenced like Alfred, RMH and St. V's and even Austin quite highly, because they do have quite good psych departments. So thinking about the specialty and what spots and training positions are available, I'd say is quite a good thing to think about. The other thing is location, which I think a lot of people don't talk about. But I think location is important.
Yeah,
Like there are some
definitely.
hospitals that are just quite far away,
Yeah.
and like I've lived in Bendigo, Echuca and Shepparton for the past 3 years, and I kind of just wanted to come metro, to be honest. I missed family, I missed Minji, and so I wanted to come closer to home, so that was important for me as well. And then hospital values too. So like I said before, there are some hospitals known for being, I guess, very multicultural. There are some other hospitals with very good research opportunities, other hospitals with really good education programs. So work out what each place has to offer and what, I guess, suits you best. What I would advise against is going based off like reputation. And what I mean by that is like, oh, did you know that place is like really toxic and like, oh, really strict, or like, oh, did you know that place is like the best, or like really elite, it's like a big four, because I think that's not that relevant. It's just what would suit your personality, what would let you like really grow and just be the best doctor and follow the best path, I think is what I would say is important.
Okay, I think we're done for today.
Yeah, I think so. We've probably not covered everything, so if you do have questions, just leave them in the comments, send us a message. Okay, that's it for today. See you next time for episode 3 of Tea Time Ned Chats.
Yes.
Bye bye, YouTube.